The man used a homemade flamethrower to melt a hole in the foundation of the bank. Next, Cage began melting the gold bars. A large amount of smoke started to rise from the gold. What they didn't expect was that the gold bars melted far easier than they had anticipated. Anna put on heat-resistant gloves and placed the molten gold into a bag. To their surprise, the intense heat from the flames triggered an alarm. They didn't leave immediately. In fact, they continued melting the gold, even risking getting caught because the gold bars were very useful to them. At that moment, the police received an alert and rushed into the bank with weapons drawn. When they opened the vault, they found a large number of gold bars were missing. The police were stunned. Meanwhile, Cage placed the gold bars in his car. He drove to an abandoned amusement park and parked the car next to a taxi. The reason Cage was doing all of this was to ransom back his kidnapped daughter. When he handed over the gold, Carl suddenly set the taxi on fire. The trunk quickly caught fire and Cage's daughter would burn to death in the car as the temperature increased. It turned out that Carl, to prevent them from calling the police, chose to kill the father and daughter to silence them. To save his beloved daughter, he wasn't afraid of getting burned by the flames. As he tried to open the trunk, Carl desperately tried to stop him. At that moment, Cage knocked Carl down with all his strength and the fire quickly consumed Carl. To everyone's surprise, Cage actually got into the car, because the only way for his daughter to have a chance at survival was to drive the car into the lake. Soon the car fell into the lake. When the fire went out, Cage found that the trunk wouldn't open. His daughter was about to be submerged by the rising water. Even though Cage used all his strength, he still couldn't get the trunk open. As his daughter was about to drown, Carl suddenly reappeared. He used a steel bar to choke Cage by the neck. He was ready to kill Cage, but it seemed he had underestimated Cage's strength and his determination to save his daughter. Cage seized the opportunity and struck Carl hard in the stomach. After knocking Carl down, Cage used the iron bar to pry open the trunk. Fortunately, Cage managed to rescue his daughter. He placed Carl into the trunk, and with the taxi sinking to the bottom of the lake, Cage lost consciousness due to blood loss. Just when his daughter had no way of helping, the police suddenly arrived. What Cage didn't expect was that the police placed all the blame on Carl. They even treated Cage's injuries because they knew that Cage had stolen the gold to save his daughter. When the police recovered the stolen gold, they found one bar was missing. To find the missing gold, the police began to monitor Cage. While Cage was cleaning out the car, he suddenly found that missing gold bar. To prevent Cage from going to jail, his teammates suggested he get rid of the gold. The police finally relaxed since they no longer had to worry about Cage committing any crimes. What they didn't realize was that the only thing Cage threw into the water was pine nuts. The real gold was still sitting on the table.